A bone can break and knit. Skin can cut and close. But a tendon, that dense, rope-like tissue between muscle and bone, can stay angry for months, years, even decades. And for some people, it never truly returns to normal. The question is not just why tendons get injured. The real mystery is, why does one tendon heal while another enters a lifelong cycle of pain, weakness, and degeneration? Modern tendon science shows that chronic tendon pain is not simply wear and tear, and it is not simply inflammation either. In many cases, it is a dysregulated healing problem, a failed repair program shaped by blood supply, oxygen, cell quality, age, metabolism, genetics, and nutrition. To understand why some people's tendons never heal, we first need to understand what a tendon actually is. Chapter 1. What is a tendon and how is it made? 1.1. What a tendon really is. A tendon is a mechanical bridge. It connects muscle to bone and transfers muscular force into movement. When your calf contracts and your foot pushes off the ground, when your shoulder lifts your arm, when your fingers grip, tendons are the structures that make that force usable. They are not just passive ropes. They guide motion, help stabilize joints, and in some places, especially in the lower limb, they also store and release elastic energy like biological springs. Structurally, a tendon is a specialized, dense, fibrous connective tissue dominated by extracellular matrix, especially type 1 collagen. Its main resident cells are tenocytes, mature tendon fibroblasts, and tenoblasts, the more active matrix-producing cells. These cells manufacture collagen and proteoglycans, maintain the tendon, and respond to mechanical load. From the smallest scale upward, collagen molecules pack into microfibrils, then fibrils, then fibers, then bundles, then fascicles, till the whole tendon becomes a cable strong enough to tolerate enormous tensile force. 1.2. How a tendon is formed in the body. Tendons do not appear overnight. During embryonic development, they arise from region-specific precursor tissues derived from the ectoderm and mesoderm. Their identity is switched on by developmental signals, especially TGF-beta pathways, and by tendon master genes such as sclerexis and mohawk, which tell immature cells, you are going to become tendon. Later, mechanical loading from developing muscles helps shape and mature that tendon, aligning its collagen along the lines of stress. In simple terms, the body first chooses the cells that instructs them to build tendon, then uses force to organize it. 1.3. The benefits and the damage when it malfunctions. When tendons work properly, they make movement efficient. They let muscles sit at an optimal distance from joints, reduce wasted energy, and tolerate huge loads with very little stretch. But when a tendon malfunctions, the consequences spread far beyond local pain. Force transmission becomes sloppy. Muscles weaken. Joint mechanics change. Pain nerves and abnormal blood vessels can grow into the diseased tissue. The tendon may thicken, stiffen, lose its smooth gliding ability, or partially tear. The result is the classic story of tendinopathy: pain during loading, stiffness after rest, and a tissue that becomes less reliable every month it fails to repair. Chapter 2. Age and tendons. The life cycle. 2.1. Do people have more tendons at different ages? Here is the first important correction. People do not meaningfully gain or lose named tendons with age. The body keeps essentially the same anatomical tendon map from childhood to old age. What changes is not the number of tendons, but their size, cell density, collagen organization, water content, stem cell fitness, and repair capacity. Science also does not have a reliable whole-body tendon cell count for age 10, 20, 40, and 60, because cell numbers vary by tendon, body size, activity, and measurement method. What medicine can say with confidence is that tendon tissue becomes progressively less cellular and less regenerative over time. 2. Childhood and adolescence in childhood. Tendons are relatively more cellular and more plastic. After birth and through maturation, tendon cells decline as the extracellular matrix expands. In plain English, the tendon becomes less like a busy construction site full of workers, and more like a finished cable with fewer maintenance staff. That is normal. A younger tendon usually has a better regenerative environment, more active matrix turnover, and better adaptation to changing loads. 2.3. The 20s, peak performance. Not immortality in the 20s. Tendon performance is generally near its mechanical prime. Collagen organization is typically strong, cells are still responsive, and loading adaptation is efficient, especially in physically active people. But this is not invulnerability. Repeated overload, abrupt training spikes, poor recovery, or systemic disease can still push a healthy young tendon into pathology. Young tissue heals better on average, but it can still heal badly if the biological environment is wrong. 2.4. The 40s, where subtle degeneration becomes visible. There is no universal birthday when tendon aging starts. That is a myth. What research supports is a gradual continuum. Subtle age-related changes begin after postnatal maturation, but clinically meaningful degeneration becomes more visible in mid-adulthood. By the 40s, many tendons have accumulated years of microdamage, reduced collagen turnover, altered matrix composition, and more advanced glycation end products, sugar-derived crosslinks that can make collagen stiffer, more brittle, and less able to glide normally. This is often the decade when people first discover that a tendon no longer bounces back the way it used. 2.5. Age 60 and beyond. Fewer cells, poorer repair after 60, tendon problems become much more common. And the biology explains why. Older tendons show lower cellularity, more disorganized collagen, reduced stem progenitor cell fitness, impaired motility, impaired self-renewal, and a background state of low-grade inflammation, sometimes called inflammaging. Some older tendons become stiffer. Others become mechanically weaker. Many become both structurally less organized and slower to adapt. So when injury happens, the tendon is not starting from neutral ground. It is trying to heal from a disadvantaged baseline. Chapter 3. The Mystery of Healing. Why some heal. Why some don't. 3.1. How a tendon is supposed to heal. Tendon healing follows 3 overlapping stages. First comes inflammation. Blood products and immune cells arrive. Damage tissue is cleared, and the repair signal is switched on. Then comes the proliferative phase, when tenocytes and fibroblasts build a temporary repair matrix rich in type 3 collagen, fast, messy, and weaker than normal tendon. Finally comes remodeling, a much longer phase that can last more than a year, where that temporary tissue is reorganized, aligned with mechanical stress, and gradually shifted towards stronger type 1 collagen. But even in the best-case scenario, healed tendon often does not return to its exact original state. The scar can become more functional, but it usually remains biologically and mechanically inferior to native tendon. That is why tendon recovery is so frustrating. Pain may improve before the tissue is truly resilient, and imaging may show abnormality long after symptoms change. 3.2. Why blood supply matters so much. A healthy mature tendon is poorly vascularized compared with muscle. In some regions, it relies substantially on diffusion from surrounding fluid rather than rich direct perfusion. That low blood supply is one reason tendons can tolerate repetitive tension with little bulk, but it is also part of their weakness. When damage occurs, the tendon needs blood-borne cells, oxygen, signaling molecules, and nutrients to mount a repair response. If vascular access is limited, healing becomes slower, patchier, and more fragile. Certain tendon regions are notoriously hypovascular, and that matters. Research has shown that disrupting central tendon vessels can cause cell death and collagen bundle disintegration. In other words, poor blood flow does not just mean slow healing. It can mean actual tissue decline, fewer living cells, more matrix breakdown, and an environment ripe for degeneration and ruptured